When we think of bees and bee behavior, we're almost always thinking of honeybees. They live in a big colony with a queen and her minions, the drones and the worker bees. But honeybees are just one bee species and they are invasive. Southern California has more than 600 native species of bees, and honeybees aren't among them. Honeybees are also bad for some of San Diego's plant life, according to a new study from UC San Diego. It shows honeybees do an especially poor job of pollinating plants that are native to San Diego.
And so seeds and seedlings that were produced via honeybee pollination were anywhere between 2 to 10 times less fit compared to the seeds and seedlings that were pollinated either by cross-pollination by hand or by native pollinators.
In fact, honeybees are not native to any part of North America. They came from Europe and Africa. They were brought to California in the late 1800s to make honey and to pollinate flowering crops. And now they are so numerous that an estimated 90% of the bees that visit this trumpet vine in San Diego are honeybees. The problem with the way honeybees pollinate is they spend a lot of time on the flowers of one plant. That's because a honeybee's first job is to serve its colony, so it gathers as much nectar as possible in one place. But that also means when they deliver the pollen to another flower on the same plant, it becomes self-pollinated. It's a kind of inbreeding. Native bees behave very differently by moving quickly from one plant to the next, which results in cross-pollination, which is much healthier. This is partly because they are solitary bees and they don't need to gather nectar to feed a whole colony.
So they don't communicate with each other, the location of resources. They're only providing for themselves and their offspring. So they don't need to be as efficient at moving resources off of plants.
And because plants like San Diego's white sage aren't being cross-pollinated, it means the new plants will be less likely to germinate, develop, and reproduce. Which begs the question, is there anything that can be done about the dominance of honeybees in San Diego County? UCSD ecology professor Joshua Cohn worked with Travis on the bee experiment.
I personally would love to poison every feral hive for 20 mile by 20 mile square and watch for 10 years to see if we get more native bees, but I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But Travis says he does want people in California to at least think differently when it comes to protecting bee populations.
A lot of research has come out to show that honeybees negatively impact our native pollinators. So we need to now change the public's attention from honeybees, this massively managed agricultural species, to our native pollinators that are completely wild, unmanaged, and actually threatened.
Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.